welcome.
Natural things happen naturally. And based on whatever I have heard, moksha is the most natural thing.
Yeah.
But it isn't happening.
Yeah. You see, this is an expression which I say quite often, natural thing happens naturally. Because people, when we encourage to know, suppose I ask you, you should know this. Try to know, find out, understand. Immediately, even before understanding, a question is asked. Afterwards what? Afterwards what? So, okay, I understand, then what? This then what attitude, it has some background behind it. Either you want a reward, because for every action that we perform, we want a reward. Even before prostrating before Bhagavan, we have to first settle what is it that you desire and then do prostration. So people are conditioned, they are hardwired to seek from God. In fact, a Mahatma saying, I was stunned when the Mahatma said, in those moments when there is no desire in your heart, no desire of any kind at all, absolutely free from desire and absolutely free from fear, you do not recollect God. It doesn't occur to you, the idea of God doesn't occur to you. When you are absolutely free from desire and or fear, the idea of God doesn't occur to you, which is nice, because you are already into the embrace of godliness. And therefore, so instead of discovering that godliness within, we want to get a reward for everything. This is a reward buddhi, hardwired to seek a reward for everything. You don't perform any action without a reward. So that is the kind of fixation that spills over into knowledge. So you want to know, after knowing what? So what will be the reward of knowing? That is one thing. That is how the attitude is. This has to be curbed. You have to dismiss it. You have to know without bothering about any reward. Knowing the truth is its own reward. You don't need any other reward. And then the attitude is to do, not to know. Therefore, when I interject know in between, you go back to the do mode and ask, then what should I do? Either you want a reward and therefore you ask, then what? Or you want to go back to the do mode and therefore ask, then what? Anyway, I made it a bit complex. All these things you need not bother about all these things. An act of understanding is a religious act. It is complete in itself. And then what happens? You don't even raise that question even for yourself. Whatever needs to happen will happen. The natural thing happens naturally. That is how I say. So I am only trying to dislodge your mind from two things. One, seeking a reward. Two, shift from knowing to doing. Both I am blocking. Got the point? So natural thing happens naturally. Don't worry. You know, that is enough. In that sense, I must have said it. Did I answer your question?
I
Yeah, in a way. You say yes. Let me have some joy. Okay, you can add some secondary question.
This religious part, religious versus spirituality, is that, I don't know, I'm getting confused.
You see, I tell you, suppose a person becomes hungry, he need not plan so much. We are hardwired, this word I am using, please bear with me. We are hardwired to plan, planning and planning and planning and planning. Planning is of two kinds, psychological and chronological. Chronological planning you should do. Otherwise you will miss the bus or the train or the flight. You should do that. Psychological planning you should stop. So suppose you are taking breakfast and then ask a question, what will be the what kind of arrangement is there for lunch? We will see. So natural thing will happen naturally. When you are hungry, you will get food. That is the law of nature. The nature, you see, there is a Upanishad, in the Upanishad, food was created only after the experience of hunger and thirst. Tam ashanaya pipase anvavarj, something is there in Aitareya. So the Purusha, he was assailed by hunger and thirst, and then food was created. That is how the original creation happened. Therefore, if hunger happens, food will come. If thirst happens, water will come. Natural thing happens naturally. Don't plan so much of life. Don't plan so much of life. The more you plan the life, the more stressed out you would be. That is what I would say. Yeah. Allow things to happen. Yes, sir. How are you? Please go ahead, sir.
Sat-darshanam supposedly is an expression of truth.
Sat means, okay, what is the question? Okay, you say.
Is this scripture qualify as an Upanishad because its teachings are just like Vedanta?
Yeah, it is. It is. Upanishads have come like that only. You see, look at yourself, because yourself has everything. What are you seeking in this world? Suppose you say, I am seeking happiness. Yourself has happiness. Suppose you are seeking God. Yourself has God in it, or He is God itself. Suppose you are seeking peace. Yourself has peace. Upanishad. You have to know yourself. In that sense, that is the meaning of word Upanishad. Upanishadic statements, though traditionally we say 10 are Upanishads, but then it became 100 and then it became 1000. So any wise statement which helps you look within, which helps you understand your own true nature, instead of imagining so many things about yourself, a little understanding of yourself you get. And a wise statement helps you that, in that way. That statement is called Upanishad. Yeah. That's why we have a statement, they say Ramana Upanishad, they say Ramakrishna Upanishad. Like that, such statements are there. Yeah.
Swamiji, you had said once that when we stand in front of when we go temple and we're looking at God, we should just become as a devotee and say, just be. How to be? That the being of that. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So here is a question already written and put here. I ignored, did not notice it. I will answer this. But before that, you see what I was saying, I will just remind you what I was saying.
Yes.
I was saying, when you go to the temple, do 3 things. This is what I was saying. Number 1, stand outside before stepping in and tell yourself, I am a devotee of Ishvara. I insist on that because devotees don't go to the temple. That is the problem. Samsaris go to the temple. Devotee doesn't go. A father who is worried about his son goes. A mother who is worried about her daughter goes. A young man who is worried about his fiancée goes. A Swami who is worried about his ashram goes. Devotee doesn't go. No devotees don't go. All non-devotees are inside. That's why when a Mahatma said this, I was stunned. The Mahatma said, Swami Ram Sukadasji Maharaj said, stand outside. Like when you go to somebody else's house, you knock on the door and wait outside, you know. So something, stand outside for a few seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and tell, I am the devotee of Ishvara. You tell that. And every other image, everything is an image. This is also an image only. But this image helps overcome a variety of other images which are very worldly images. Father, mother, brother, sister. A litigant goes to temple. Litigant, you know litigant? He goes to temple. So, like that, you tell yourself, I am a devotee of Ishvara. Therefore I am going inside. You do it a few times, 2, 3, 4 times. There will be a tremendous transformation within you. Very unexpectedly beautiful transformation will be there. Instead of that, you go to a temple 1,000 times, you remain a crass, worldly guy, I tell you. That's why you have to uplift yourself. You have to make that happen. The temple is what? It cannot uplift you. You have to uplift yourself. This is number 1. Number 2. Nowadays they are not temples, they are temple complexes. In my own experience as a child, I used to go to Ramalayam, and you have one shrine Rama, Shivalayam, one shrine Shiva. Now it is not like that. The Namarupa proliferation is there. The number of gods and goddesses is increasing by the day. And they go on adding shrines. I don't know what is the logic of these shrines. And so you encounter half a dozen shrines. Why all these shrines? There is one basic principle discussed in some of these commentaries. Whatever image of God that you are worshipping, that form of God has all other forms of God incorporated in it. Like you are worshipping Rama. That Rama has a Durga, Shiva, Vishnu, everything in it. Krishna, Ayyappa, Baba also is inside. Sarvadevata Swarupaha. Somebody else is worshipping Durga. That Durga has all gods and goddesses incorporated in it. Therefore, these people, they proliferate the images, and therefore nowadays there is no Rama temple, there is a temple complex only. Therefore, you have to rise above Namarupa. You are students of Vedanta, that is what I assume, you know. Unfortunately, many of them are not even the students of Vedanta. You encounter people who are not even the students of Vedanta, attending a Vedanta class. Look at that. So, you are a Ekam Sadvipra Bahudha Vadanti. It is one. And Namarupa, you see, Namarupa has to signify a higher principle. Like Rama signifies dharma, Pitruvakya Pripalana. Shri Krishna signifies knowledge of the self or Ananda. Hanuman signifies surrender to Bhagavan's work and duty consciousness. It should signify, and that significance you should visualize. You should feel inspired by that significance. Without that, you go to the temple and look at an image, it becomes a crass idol worship. You should not allow that to happen. And all these forms have to be incorporated into one name, Abhidhana. All the forms are called Abhidheya, the designated. And there is one Abhidhana which can account for all the Abhidheya, a dozen of them also. And that Abhidhana is Om. Therefore, you look at all these shrines, all these images as Om. Don't ask how, just do that. That is the second. Therefore, that helps you to overcome Namarupa. Third, that Abhidheya, Ishvara, designated by the sacred sound Om, is here. Is there all right, but now here. Close the eyes by all means if you wish, and have that Abhidheya, Ishvara, in your heart as the innermost self. You are a Vedanta student. For you, Ishvara is none other than Atma. Atma and Ishvara are paryaya, they are synonyms. So you should not have any dilly-dallying about it. Ishvara is the innermost self, and you visualize it like that. This is the third. These three things you do, your temple visit has a meaning. Otherwise, it's a routine. Chalti ka naam gaadi, chalta rehta. These three you do. This is what I was saying at one time. You reminded me of that. Now this question. Significance of Vedanta, Mauna in Vedanta. You see, Mauna as a self, as an imposed austerity is not necessary probably. Because when you have to speak, and it is needed to speak, then better you speak. That's why Vedanta or no Vedanta, I would say life. In life you need Mauna. You need Mauna. Maunam is an austerity, tapas it is. Manasam tapaha, Sri Krishna. So it is the austerity at the level of the mind. Speaking with the austerity at the level of speech, and action at the level of the body. So that inner silence, you should discover it. I suggest you only know the mind in movement. You are not familiar with the mind in silence. You see, you think about it, a question is asked, what is the natural state of the mind? That is the question. What is the natural state of a pond of water? Water pond. What is the natural state? When it is disturbed and waves are coming, or when it is placid. Which is the natural state? Placid. Right? What is the natural state of the backbone? Backbone should not be S, backbone should be J. You should have a J backbone, not S backbone. That is the natural state. Everything else is like these chairs, etc. They promote the unnatural state of the backbone. That's why we are not very healthy people. The worst discovery that ruined the health of mankind is chair. Because a comfortable chair and sofa, etc., they work against the biomechanics of the body. The basic principles of biomechanics are violated by all these gadgets, chair, sofa, etc. The natural shape of the... So I have digressed, coming back. I am talking about natural state. Natural state of a pond. Natural state of the backbone. Similarly, what is the natural state of the mind? You know what?
Peace.
Thoughtless state of the mind.
Peace.
Silence. Silence. That is the natural state of the mind. And we are not familiar with it. You discover the natural state of the mind. In the process, you will discover yourself. You will discover the divinity in you. That is the moment. That's why it is manasam tapaha. That's why how to practice maunam. Okay? You see, the mind finds the avenue for movement. It moves through the sense organs and the speech and organs of action also. When you see, it is a movement of mind. When you hear, it is movement of mind. Of all these various avenues of movement of mind, speech is the worst. The more you speak, the more agitated the mind would be. And therefore, among all organs, mind is a supervisor over 10 organs. Of these, speech is the worst, which makes the mind hyperactive. Therefore, you speak less, your mind is already quiet. And you need a quiet mind. You need a quiet mind. An active mind is not helpful at all. Like when you are attending a satsang like this, you look at your mind now, how quiet and how slow moving it is. You learn a thing only when the mind is moving slow. And the mind is moving very fast. Jumping from hither to thither, you will not learn anything. That is what is called distraction. Therefore, you need to have that quietude of the mind. You need to have it. And the way to accomplish it is not a very strict self-imposed ending of speech. That is not highly recommended. It has its own value. Many people follow in Rishikesh and other places. But in Vedanta we do not recommend that as much. Because we have not only manasam tapaha, we have vachikam tapaha also, vangmayam tapaha also we have. So even speaking can become tapas. Therefore the thumb rule is, you speak on 2 occasions only. 1, by your speech some good will accrue to you. Be selfish in the right way, no problem. 2, by your speech some good will accrue to the other person. You speak. In all other occasions don't speak. Suppose by speaking, neither I am benefited nor somebody else is benefited. Why should I speak? I don't speak. That is the maunam. A lot more value is there on maunam, but for a satsang session that is enough. Tips on how to practice. This is the thumb rule. So if you follow it, you become very quiet, very silent you become. And when you speak, people will hear you. Because you are speaking either to get some benefit for yourself, nothing wrong in it, or to help the other person. So that way speech should be.
Swamiji, how to use the presence of the Ganges to intern the mind?
Okay. This we will do in meditation also. Now I will briefly answer. You stand on the bank of Ganges. I'm not saying anything about taking bath and all that. If you want to take bath, that is a different thing, okay? And watch the flow. Ganges is a flow. Ganga is the name you gave. Essentially it is a flow. Flow of water. The flow has content. You should notice that. The flow has content. Sometimes some flowers come, sometimes some dirty things also come. Quite often they throw plastic also, and that also comes. Whatever is thrown upstream, that will come down. Therefore, you are looking at the flow having a content. Okay? And you are not part of the flow. You are not connected to the content. You are standing on the bank and looking at the flow. That is your status. So get this description into your mind. You imbibe it. And then apply that to your mind. Mind is a flow. You learn to watch your mind. You learn to read the book of your mind. Be aware of the total consciousness of your own total consciousness. I'm using the consciousness in the sense of movement of mind. Okay? Be aware of the totality of the consciousness. Like there is envy, there is jealousy, there is frustration, there is anger, there is a lot of unnecessary speaking habit, there is greed, there is some happiness, a lot of unhappiness, and there is a lot of confusion, and there is a lot of helplessness, sorrow. All of that is there in this flow of consciousness. So the consciousness is a flow. Consciousness I am not using in the sense of kutastha atma, okay? The waking consciousness, it is a flow. It is ever changing, you know. Now I am conscious of the flask, now I am conscious of the paper, now I am conscious of you. Like that ever changing flow it is. And it has content. You have to be aware of the entirety of that content. You pay attention, you will become aware. It is, after all, it is your own consciousness, you know. Who else will know it if not you? So be aware of that consciousness. Under that flow, be aware of that. And be aware of that content. So you have to be aware of two things. It is a flow and it has content. Be aware. There will be a tremendous inner transformation in you. You don't condemn the flow of Ganges. You don't judge it. You don't praise it. Don't start some chant and all that. Don't do any of those things. Just stand and watch the flow. The same thing you do here. Don't condemn, don't justify, don't do any of those things. Don't curse yourself. Don't do any of those things. If you find jealousy, don't curse yourself. Just be aware, there is jealousy. Don't even project, I should become free from jealousy. Don't. You are already having jealousy. That kind of a projection, it creates a conflict. So don't do any of these projections. Don't create any agenda for yourself. Don't condemn whatever content is there. Be honest about it. Be aware of the entire content of your own consciousness and watch it. Do that. You are already into the portals of Atmajnana, I tell you. You try that.
Swamiji.
That is what Ganges teaches. And this is what Shankara said in one verse in Kashi Panchakam. Yeah. Okay.
Swamiji, isn't this samadhana then?
Awareness, it is samadhana. Yeah, you are right. That is the samadhana. That is samadhana. Samadhana can apply to outer things also. The sakshi bhava and one aspect of samadhana. Yeah. You see, now the floodgates are opened by Shri Arun Kapoorji. He has come all the way from Canada and opened the floodgates. Welcome. Go ahead.
In continuation with your mauna, so many times we do japa. So there because the mind gets distracted, we do japa to concentrate on one mantra. So between maunam and japa, which is a more powerful spiritual practice?
Okay. Have an open mind. Don't expect a stock answer from this speaker. Okay. You know what is the purpose of japam? When I describe you the real way of japam, the entire question gets answered. You do japam. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Then, as the mind becomes quiet, hopefully, you reduce the speed. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Like that. And then second step. Third step. Instead of focusing on the mantra, focus on the silence between two successive chants. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. That is where the focus is on silence. And a point comes when you feel like merging in that silence, drop Om Namah Shivaya and merge into the silence. You have reached the pinnacle of spiritual practice. Yeah. The purpose of mantra is that only. Many of our friends don't know this. Yeah. This is what is described by Swami Chinmayananda Maharaj in a book called Meditation. So it's a long day for all of you. I can answer one more question if you wish. And already it is time to retire also.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
This is most, I think, one of the silliest questions I think you might have heard any time.
Let me say one thing. There are only bad answers. There are no bad questions. You don't say.
Swamiji, most of the time you say that just do it, don't ask how. Sometimes I just don't know how to do it, Swamiji.
Yeah, I tell you, when I say don't ask how, just do it. When I say that, you know, it is not a doing. For want of a better expression, I say do it. But it is not a doing. And there is no process for it. Like be silent. How? But there is no how for it. Okay? Lift the weight. There is a how. By lifting the weight, you should not bend the backbone. You should bend at the base and you should bend the knees and lift it. There is a process. How to do it, how not to do it. Drop the weight. There is no process. Whenever I say don't ask how, it means some such thing. Therefore, don't look for a process. Just allow it to happen. It happens. Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya